Hey guys, what's up? At last, the PS4, the PlayStation 4. Today, you're about to meet 10 hidden JRPG gems for this amazing console that I've been having a blast with it for the past 5 months or so. And in these 5 months or so, I have gathered 10 great underrated gems that you should know about. Alright, let's begin! Number 10. Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus. This game is an enhanced port of the original version that came out on the PS Vita. This port has new playable characters, side stories, new skills, and a new chapter after the ending. So yeah, this is the version you want to get if you own a PS4, what with it being the complete edition for so to say. It's an action RPG developed by Falcom, famous company for the Ys games and The Legend of Heroes, which actually takes elements from both franchises to create a high school simulator with dungeon crawling mechanics where you can only fight with one character at a time. You can also switch between characters at any time depending on the enemies you want to take on, since they all have their elemental weaknesses. The simulation works okay. It's not Persona of course, but it delivers quite smoothly anyway. It's an excellent game, especially for its fast-paced combat and addictive gameplay mechanics. It's actually one of the best games in this entire video, but it stays on number 10 because thankfully it's the least hidden of them all, having gained its well-earned popularity nowadays. Number 9. Grand Kingdom. Another game that was released for the Vita and the PS4, but truthfully a hidden gem in both. This game was practically crafted by one of the main designers from Vanillaware after quitting and creating his own company. It works as a spiritual sequel to Grand Knight's History on the PSP, also by Vanillaware, but only in Japan. Grand Kingdom is a turn-based RPG where you manage an entire army of characters you create and take under your command in parties of 4 to engage in 2D battles with some strategy involved. You play in these long missions, each with their own overall map, advancing through little campaigns. You do this for the entire game, so it might become slightly repetitive, but still very fun to play. The story might not win any awards, even though it's good enough, since the entire point of the game is for you to exploit the gameplay mechanics. So give this game a chance on either system if you haven't, since it's a solid turn-based RPG with a little bit of retro feeling. Number 8. God Eater Resurrection. The God Eater franchise has become quite popular nowadays, especially since the release of the anime and God Eater 2 also on the PS Vita and the PS4. With the recent release of the third game in the series, it seems to be gaining terrain within the most famous action RPGs on modern consoles. But what most people don't know is that this franchise started back with a game called God's Eater Burst on the PSP, which in my opinion was a total technical wreck, and overall a mediocre game. So many gamers never realized this game was remade, or rather remastered for the PS4 and the PS Vita a few years ago to a much better improvement. Unfortunately, only Japan got the physical version while the rest of the world met the digital one. It often goes on sale, so you might want to look for it every once in a while. Hell, I got it for $5 and had a blast with it, playing a much better game than the original on the PSP. Overall, it's a decent action RPG, heavily quest-driven, but still with a very interesting post-apocalyptic story and a nice cast of characters. Number 7. Dark Rose Valkyrie. This is one of those idea factory and compile hard games, which obviously means it's a fan service game. To be honest, I expected the absolute worst when I first played it, and to my surprise, it had a lot to offer. It's a turn-based RPG where your characters fight in parties, mostly girls alongside the main hero. So yeah, it's a harem. Anyway, the point of the game is to do quests and every now and then follow the main missions of the main story in order to advance. It may become repetitive, but with its military simulation mechanics, it turns much less tedious. Many people trash this game not only for its generic nature, but also for the fan service this company is known for. But I say ignore all that and play it so you can have your own opinion about it. It's not a great game, of course, but it's an overlooked gem you might want to try if you're into compiled hearts, fast-paced battle systems that often derive into creating combos and doing massive damage. Story and character design were crafted by people from the Tales of games, so even the overall plot of this game is very interesting and full of plot twists. That is reason enough to give this game a chance. So play this PS4 RPG, also available on PC anytime. After all, it's still quite cheap nowadays. Number 6. The Witch and the Hundredth Knight Revival Edition. If you're into Nipponichi Software's silly games, but with gameplay mechanics that focus on developing weapons and skills to beat the crap out of your enemies, then this hidden gem might be of interest. It was originally released on the PS3 as an exclusive, that is until NIS ported it to the PS4 as an enhanced version with the title Revival Edition. Either way, both versions are equally fun and somehow addictive to play. As you can see, it's an action RPG where you play as this little doll that gains armor, weapons and abilities as you progress through the game. You work directly for an evil witch who wants to take revenge. So the story is, very silly, mainly a comedy, but very well written. You also have the ability to take on houses or villages to raid them, hence taking the real mechanics to their fullest, since that's the whole point of the game. The only downfall is that it has a really long-ass tutorial that's extremely tedious and boring, but once you overcome that trial, you'll be entering a laughable plot and a very funny experience. There's also a second game in the series on the PS4, but I haven't played it. Maybe it is as good as the first one? Who knows? If you played it, please let me know in the comments. Number 5. Fairy Fencer F Advent Dark Force. Let's keep talking about silly games that are most likely comedies. I promise this is the last one. But damn, this game is quite the comedy. I never expected to laugh my ass off with a compiled hard game, much less with one of their fan service experiences. But I did, and I'm glad I played it and beat this game on the PS3 several months ago. Now that I played the enhanced port on the PS4 called Advent Dark Force, also released on PC and the Switch, I realized what an interesting game it is. Of course it's not to be taken seriously, but playing it can help you forget about daily life, since I'm sure it will take out a few laughs from you. This port has 3 different routes and endings, some of them involving new playable characters. Other new features and improvements are there, such as a difficulty mode and new skills for your characters. Battle system is turn-based, but focusing on combos and weird transformations that will require your skills to be tested. This means it mixes action with strategy at the same time. Overall, it's a pretty decent game, fun to play, and totally recommended for those looking for a solid challenge or a laughable experience. Number 4. God Wars Future Past. Well, it seems I can't shut up about this game. It's not that I'm a huge fan of it, but I strongly believe games like this are the exact definition of the term hidden gem. It's on the Vita and the PS4, also on the Switch as an expanded version. A strategy RPG with a very classic mode like many others out there that were greatly influenced by Tactics Ogre and Final Fantasy Tactics. Ancient Japanese folklore played a big role into molding its main plot, revolving around a princess trying to find her mother. A big cast of characters involving several different species, each with their own background and personalities. A decent challenge, nothing too easy or hard if you're only doing the main story. God Wars is definitely a hidden gem, not one of the best strategy RPGs ever made or anything like that, but a solid experience that can easily derive from the classics in the late 90s and early 2000s. Number 3. Lost Sphere. Many were familiar with the retro-style turn-based RPG I Am Setsuna that also came out on the PS4 by the way. But not too many know the same company developed yet another retro-influenced RPG called Lost Sphere as a new game. It's not connected at all to Setsuna since it's a standalone title, although many consider this as a spiritual sequel. In any case, Lost Sphere is a beautiful RPG that takes the term classic or retro way too seriously for its own good. I say this because almost everything heavily reminds you of early RPGs on the Super Nintendo or even the PlayStation, including the story which might seem generic for today's standards, what with the classic guy waking up in his room, hanging out with his friends, his childhood friends by the way, and then watching his village get into serious trouble. Then it all starts connected to politics and military, taking a deeper turn into a very well-written plot. Leaving the gorgeous soundtrack and pretty graphics aside, which are obviously cool, the turn-based system is something to praise. It looks like Chrono Trigger but plays differently with characters being able to move all around the place when doing their attacks or skills. Difficulty spikes on bosses can be sometimes brutal, but there's grinding involved, or an easy mode if you don't want to get into that. Overall, it's yet another perfect definition for hidden gem and one that you should definitely play. Number 2. Exist Archive, The Other Side of the Sky. Another game I can't seem to shut up about. This one, however, I'm starting to become a big fan. It was made by Tri-Ace, one of my favorite developers ever, same people behind the Valkyrie Profile and Star Ocean series. This game plays extremely similar to the Valkyrie games, with a turn-based system and one button assigned to each character so that you can abuse it and create powerful combos depending on the combination of attacks you have equipped. It's also a grind fest, so you'll be spending some time trying to level up to be on par with some bosses or normal enemies in the game, although not that much. It's a hard title alright, but nothing too brutal. The game itself is absolutely beautiful. The world these characters are trapped in is gorgeous, and the 3D models are cute as hell. Music is alright, and so are the dialogues I guess, but the main story is very interesting and it gets so much better the more you advance through the game. After all, the protagonist has the same name as the one in Lost Sphere! Anyway, I think it's a very underestimated title that you should play if you're looking for a solid challenge and a stunning visual experience. Number 1. Ys Origin. I know it's not that hidden, and being in the first place on the entire list feels kinda off, but I'm sorry, I couldn't resist! I've been in love with this game, especially with the Ys series for a while, and I definitely think Origin needs more attention, especially if you consider it's the very beginning, chronologically speaking, of the entire universe of the franchise. Well, I absolutely love this game. Fast-paced action RPG, addictive battle system, dungeon crawling filled with small puzzles, and astonishingly awesome bosses. The soundtrack? Oh my god. Well, it's an Ys game. They all have kick-ass music in the entirety. Story is short, but that's because you choose to play between two different protagonists, and after you beat the game with both, you unlock a third protagonist. All the more reason to replay this game. I'm sounding very passionate about this excellent title, probably because I recently finished it live, but ever since I played it several months ago on the Vita and included it on my hidden gems video for the PS Vita, I fell in love with it. Its origin might not be that hidden anymore, which is great by the way, but there just can't be a more perfect example for the term gem. Alright guys, that's it. To be completely fair, I know most of these games are not exactly hidden or unknown, but you gotta understand that PS4 is kinda new. It's been around for only like 6 or 7 years, and these games, most of these are, well, fairly recent, so there's no reason for them to be that hidden into the abyss of the unknown. But in any case, I think these are great games, and they deserve to be called hidden gems, or at least they deserve your attention. So forget for a little while about the mainstream titles, AAA titles, and give these great games a chance. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time.